What's up, you old Gen X ginger balls? Now, what's up, old Gen X ginger balls? I've heard you talk a few times recently about enjoying these young crowds and how they're not getting offended as millennials do. Figure I'd let you know that these young people at your show most likely are millennials. No, they're not. And I know the ages of millennials, so don't even start. The youngest millennials are 25. So unless you're performing to a bunch of 21 and 24-year-olds, you've got us, I say us 27-year-olds. No, this was a super young crowd. I understand you guys are also all the way up to almost 40 years old. I'm the one who's been saying how old millennials are. Don't preach this back to me. Okay? I'm telling you, there's been a shift. And I'll give credit to maybe the ass end of millennials. But that front end of millennials are horrific. And I performed in front of enough of them. But I understand that you're a millennial, so you have to defend your generation, which is why you called me Gen X, even though I don't identify Gen X, because Gen X is somehow tied into grunge, and grunge took all my music, all my fucking metal music off of the MTV back when they played music, the countdown. All right, an ex-Muslim problem. No, Jesus. Hello, Bill. Hello, Bill. Hello, Newman. I watched every stand-up you've had online and been a longtime fan. Well, thank you. Although I didn't pay attention to the podcast till you took mushrooms. Okay. I'm a Kurdish man born in Musi, Iraq. I hope I said that right. I grew up during the war and saw a lot of death. I got used to death at the age of 9 to 12. Is that the saddest fucking thing? That was his childhood. Because of these banker cunts and these oil companies. It's fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. It always comes down to those two fucking cunts. Energy and money. Comes down to those two fucking cunts, no matter where it is. No matter where it is. Anyway, one of our neighbor that was an officer died during the war. They brought his body in a truck wrapped up with a blanket that was exactly like mine. At night, I couldn't sleep and think about him and death. I was taught to never question God, but I was questioning God that night to the things that are happening. Yeah, that's a totally normal. When you see what human beings can do to other human beings, shit, if you see what animals do to some other animals, like why are there Komodo dragons? You know, I understand they got to kill to eat. Why can't they just kill them? They start eating them before they're even dead. I mean, it's just like fucking ridiculous. It was the most terrifying time of my life because I thought God is going to kill me for thinking this way. Well, welcome to organized religion. But obviously nothing happened. I stopped questioning God or religion till ISIS came along. When Yazidis got attacked by, it says IS. I don't know if that's ISIS or what. In 2014, they got kicked out of their homes and kidnapped their girls and women to be served as slaves to IS members. I went to Sinjar Mountain to help them while they were coming down from the mountain. An old woman run down to an officer, jumped on his feet, kissing and kowtowing, begging him to bring her granddaughter back from IS. That was the moment I lost my religion and the idea of God. I couldn't live there anymore, so I moved to Sweden. Jesus Christ, this is a fucking heavy email. My family doesn't know that I'm not a religious person anymore. If I did tell them, they would never talk to me, but it's fine for them not to know. That's the smartest thing to do. So my problem is that I've fallen in love with a Kurdish girl that is religious. I did tell her that I'm not religious because she deserves to know. She cried for 2 days and then told me she's okay with it. I guess she's hoping that I'll change my mind in the future, which I'm very sure that I won't. Every time I remind her that I'm not religious person, she just ignores it. I always thought that love is a silly thing that doesn't exist till I met her. We are engaged now. We've talked about kids recently. I told her that I do not want kids to grow up with any religious ideas, but she thinks they'll be monsters if we did that. I'm okay with her being religious, but I'm definitely not okay with my kids growing up on those ideas. Love is strong, but not strong enough to choose your life partner. We've knowing each other for over 3 years now. And that's the end of the email. Yeah, you need to work that out before you marry her. But, you know, you're allowed to think what you think, and she's allowed to think what she thinks. You know, if it works for her, it works for her. But I 100% see, when I see what people do to other people, Yeah, I just don't like the capability of fucking evil is just, I don't get it. I don't get it. I think if there is a God that made us, he or she could have done a lot better fucking job. All right, fat people bragging. Dear Billy Zigzag, I don't care who gets the vaccine before me because I'm not an at-risk person. I do, however, think it's fucking crazy that fat people are bragging about getting the vaccine first on social media. I keep seeing threads of pictures of fat people throwing up peace signs like they won something. These high-risk people were the excuse to shut down businesses for a year, and they're the first ones to be able to go back and eat at a restaurant. And dude, you should be a comedian. This is a killer bit. And somehow someone will think I'm a dick for complaining. How about a tad bit of shame for not taking care of yourself? Yeah, and slowing down the herd. I agree. I agree. You should turn that into your first stand-up bit. Or just for the fuck of it, sign up for an open mic and just do that and get it off your chest. And even if you bomb, there'll be one person laughing, and then I'm telling you, it'll make your day. All right, cruising for a bruising. Dear Billy, the orange creamsicle. I know you're trying to trash me, but I kind of like that one. They call him the creamsicle kid. I am a 22-year-old university graduate from Toronto, Canada, working on the weekend like usual. And I am currently working a job landscaping to make money until I start firefighter school this summer. Anyway, I have recently picked up a bad habit of boozing very consistently since the start of the pandemic. Yeah, a lot of people, I think, are drinking heavily. I'm bored, and what can I say? I like my beer. I am drinking anywhere between 4 and 8 beers every other night, and sometimes more often than not. I think every other night is more often than not. Well, no, that's 50-50, right? No, I suck at math. I drink every night. Oh, and sometimes more often than not, I drink every night. I know you've been sober for a number of years now. Sort of. I was California sober, as Josh Adam Myers says. And basically, weed then kind of took over, and I was having an edible like 4 or 5 times a fucking, a week. And then I was just like, I have a problem again. So now I had to walk away from that. So I've really just been sober since February 28th. So he says, I am thinking I should follow in your footsteps or at least drop down the number of days a week I'm drinking. I don't know about you, but I use booze to calm my anxiety and spice up my days so I don't spiral into a fit of depression. Hey, welcome to the club. He goes, however, as we all know, too much booze can lead to bad decisions that make you feel like a piece of shit the next morning, and I absolutely hate that feeling. I have talked to a therapist before, and it didn't do a whole lot for me. Anyway, I am just looking for some tips on how you got the booze out of your life because I don't want my future to go down the wrong path. Thanks a lot. I love the podcast. All the best to you, the lovely Nia, and your wonderful kids. Cheers and go fuck yourself. All right, well, everybody's different. For me, I just was done with booze. And I had kids, and I had only a daughter at that point. I just didn't feel good about being getting drunk downstairs while she was sleeping upstairs. And then whenever I would have like an edible, if I was high, I would just be like, I'd be like, she's sleeping, nothing's going to happen, I can do this, and it's just stupid. If something does happen, what the fuck? We have earthquakes out here, God knows what could happen, I'd be high as shit. It was stupid. So, the big thing that made me do it was this underlying depression and sadness from all the shit that made me want to be, drove me into being a comedian. And I think at some point you kind of have to work that out. Maybe you had the wrong therapist. Maybe you weren't ready for therapy, but it's always good to talk to somebody about it. Talk to a therapist. I said, I tried therapy. It hasn't worked, for me. But, I'm drinking too much, and I think I'm drinking because to stay away from these depressive thoughts, and that's not the right reason to drink. So I would just suggest being really open to either friends and family about it and try to get a new therapist if you can. And just put it out there and tell people that you're drinking too much and you don't want to drink and you're drinking for the wrong reasons. And you want to stop. And if you ask for help, you'll be surprised. People will really help you out. And, I'll tell you, the great thing about not boozing is the next morning. You feel great. You don't have to apologize to anybody. And, everything you said was what you meant. Was what you wanted to say, at least. All right, here we go. Last one here.